Mike, and hello to everybody for another episode of Alpha Simulation. So as promised, last time I started showing you how I'm gonna set up and install every module for my simulator. So we look at the yokes and the rudders, we look at the throttle quadrants. Today I'm gonna start demonstrating you all the modules that came from Sysmo Solutions, starting from the MIP, the MCP and the EFIS. I'm gonna show you how it's configured, how it's connected with the network, and what you need to do to start up using this module for your simulator. The first things that you need to understand before you even turn on this beautiful module, connect everything, you need to understand a little bit how everything is configured inside. It's important to understand how what's this made of inside, because then you can understand how you can configure everything, how can you communicate from your main computer to this. Okay, so what we need to understand is that this module, which is full assembled, there are includes two mini PC inside. Okay, so mini computer, there are about this size. There is one installed here and one installed over there. You can actually, if you go down, you can actually see it. Now, each of these mini computer have two monitors connected to them. So the first computer have one display monitor here, and the second one is this one. The second computer control this monitor here and this one. Now, why is important? The importance is because for each computer you're going to configure the ProSim, so you need to understand what display is connected to which computer. And if you make a small diagram in your mind, so we have two PC, two monitor this side and two monitor this for the second PC, then it's very easy to understand how you can move things around. Okay, the first step, even before you do everything, you have to make sure that the modules, so the two PC, are connected to the same network of your prime computer, main computer. There are actually two ways that you can connect this to your own main network. So for this module specifically, you have two USB. One is to connect your keyboard, one is your mouse. Or for example, if you have a Bluetooth mouse and keyboard, you just connect the Bluetooth device. That will allow you to control the first mini PC and the display here. The same happen for the second one here. Control the second PC for the rest. So one option is to actually go in each computer and connect wirelessly to the same network. However, I did for my simulator, I did something better, which is connect them directly with the Ethernet cable. Why? Obviously it goes faster, and I make sure that everything is connected through the same network. There is no dispersion, there is no disconnection by Wi-Fi. And sorry for the mess here, this is only for testing purposes, but easily you can remove the panel here. So there are some screws, you remove the panel, you connect one Ethernet cable to one PC and the other one to the other PC, and the two Ethernet cables that come from here connect to the same hub. The second thing to do is obviously to go and turn on your main PC number one, which is this button here. And you can see the two monitor actually they start, and you go also for the second one. And you went until everything turn on completely. Okay, when everything turn on, MCP, EFIS will be still off until you turn on ProSim and everything, but the rest will just display the Sysmo Solutions logo or your logo if you change and so forth. Now, might doesn't display anything because this has been already configured, and I just turn it off a little bit of the display because I want to show you exactly step by step what you need to do. Okay, do you remember when I said that you can connect everything and you can move your mouse and control the two screens? It's a little bit difficult because, as you can see here, due to the resolution, you don't have the full desktop that you can see. So one thing that you can do is to download the free version of TeamViewer, install into the main computer, first computer 1, first computer 2, and then you also installed into your main computer. And I'll show you how from there, using TeamViewer, you can actually connect with this, and you can configure whatever you want, whatever you need. I can actually do this directly from my living room if I have to. That's how good the TeamViewer program works. When you installed your TeamViewer, I can open, otherwise you will see the password login, but it will ask the password login of each of the computer that you installed. So what you need to do is to open in your computer 1, computer 2 also, they will give you the password, and then you can connect. Now, once you connect, actually, you can actually see you can see the screen of the computer number 1, which I called MIP Captain. You can actually also see the computer number 2, which I called MIP First Officer. And then for each of them, you can see the screen number 1. The first thing you need to do to configure is to now go into your command prompt, and you basically have to type ipconfig. Okay, and this is basically, it tells you that you are connected or through Ethernet. If you are connected through Wi-Fi, it will give you wireless, but I am connected through Ethernet. Okay, so this is your router. Don't worry about this. This is what you really need to know. Now, majority of the times, this will always start with 192.168.1, and then there will be a number which goes from 1 to up to 255. Okay, so don't worry about this number. The important is that these three set of digits are always 192.168.1. Why? The reason of that is because each of the modules that you purchase are configured with their own IP address. For example, if you go into your Sysmo documentation, it will tell you that for Boeing 737 NG, which is the one I have, for the MAX is different, but for the NG, if you are trying to configure the MIP, the default IP is 192.168.1.152, and the host port is 1152. So the host port will always be the last 4 digits of the IP. Okay, so if you try to configure the MCP, which is also connected to the EFIS, so you configure both of them at the same time, so the host port 1151, which will give you the IP address 192.168.1.151. Now, these are, don't change this, is already configured, you don't have to do anything. There is a section in the manual that tells you if you, by any reason, you need to change them, but I suggest you not to do it. Just keep them as they are. It makes everything so simple. Okay, so first of all, once you figure out that the list of the digits start with the same, okay, then the things are much easier. If, for example, your IP address is different, it is not 192.168, it's some other number, then you can find online, just Google how to set a static IP address. The important is that you set an IP address which starts with this 3 digits. The rest of the number, it doesn't matter as long as it's different from this. You can select, for example, 253, 254, 255, doesn't matter. Actually different from the gateway, but the important is that if 99.9% of the case, this will be always the same. So what do you do? Once we have that, let's suppose that I want to configure the MCP, okay, the MCP EFIS. So I go, so remember this, 192.168.1.151, I just go to a tab, 192.168.1.151, which is the IP address, okay? And as soon as you press enter, you have this config page. Okay, what to do here? Do not change this is already pre-configured, do not change this, and do not change the default gateway. Now, don't get confused, your gateway is 192.168.1 and then another number, okay? But don't worry, this is exactly what you need to leave as it is. Don't change to this gateway. I will discuss about this in a second. For the UDP, which is the connection instead of TCP, Sysmo use the UDP for the moment, which works very well. What you need to do is to ensure the local port is 1024. So usually it is, you don't have to change anything. Now the host port, make sure that it's 1151 if you remember the host port, okay? However, if you don't remember what the host port is, you can always get the last 4 digits and that will give you the host port, except for the default module, which you don't need to do anything at the moment, as default has a different host port, but keep that as it is. The only thing that you need to change is the host IP. This is already configured for my computer, but when you first connect, this will be a different number. If I remember correctly, this will also be 11, okay? So it will not be communicate to you, and this is the reason why originally doesn't work even if you go here and you save and everything, okay? So what you need to change here is your IP address. So this time you have to put your IP address 192.168.2.1.253. You put it there, okay? So to summarize, do not change anything here and do not change anything there. All you have to do is to make sure that this is 151 and this is 1151. The only thing you need to change in this section here is to put your own IP address. The second point is the daughter boards. Now the daughter boards are the boards they are installed within the MIP, MCP and so forth, and they are off, they can be turned off or on depending on what type of configuration you are doing. Usually these are already pre-configured, so you don't have to change them at all, and I suggest you do not play with this on and off because if you for any reason you put this off, then things start not to work anymore, and then you need to go and remember which one is to be on. Okay, but however, there is a section in the manual that tells you for each configurator what board needs to be on. So if you go into the same user manual, if you scroll a little bit down, there is a daughter board configuration, and here it will tell you for which module what type of board you need to keep it on. For example, for MIP, which is the one for MCP, the one I'm showing you, the board that needs to be on has to be SC, this one here, input 1, which is exactly what we have here, input 1 on. The rest you can keep it off. Now, what happens if you put on the rest? It doesn't matter anything. You can still put everything on if you're sure, and you can save and it will still work. The difference is that what MCP will do, it will only communicate with this input board. So the fact that you activate all the other boards which are no use, it will only slow down your communication. However, we are talking probably milliseconds here, so it doesn't matter anyway. But if you want to do the things correctly, all you have to do is to check that the pre-configured daughter boards is exactly as the manual should be. In this case it is. So once you open this and you change this and the rest is already okay, you just save the board configuration, already saved, okay? If you change anything here, save the daughter board, and then you can close this and you are done for this board. Now if you want to do, obviously, if you want to do configure the rest, it works exactly the same. For the MIP, the daughter board will be, so MIP daughter board, all you need is the servo on. These are the mini servos that actually control the brake pressure and the flaps gauge. Okay, nothing else to say. So if you want, once everything is okay, you can close it. Now I don't want to go into the testing. Sysmo also have a program called SC Pascal which allows you to test. I had to use the program because sometimes things were not working correctly. It was to do with wrong configuration. So this SC Pascal allows you to test, but I don't want to go into that. That's not the purpose of this video today. Once you've done this, which actually takes you 5 minutes, you connect on the network, you go there, you turn on and everything. The next things to do is to turn on ProSim. Okay, when you turn on ProSim, now mine I'm already configured, and you can, I don't know if you heard, but there were some sort of clicking noise, and that's where basically ProSim telling you that it's connecting to the Sysmo, MCP and MIP. As you can see here, I have already connected. Now, but the first time that you actually open ProSim, it doesn't give you this. Okay, I will do the update later. Thank you. It will not show this because what you have to do, go to configuration, drivers, and this is where you connect the module that you purchase. So for Sysmo, you have to go all the way down, Sysmo Ethernet boards config, enable this, and when you enable that and you press OK, ProSim will automatically restart, and when it starts, you can go back, click advance, and then for MCP you need to connect everything that you have to you want to work. For example, I have the captain EFIS and the first officer EFIS. This one I have to read what's it all about. I think it's to do with minutes, I don't know, but I will check this later. For MIP, I do have the gear, the auto brake, the MIP lower ecas, the PWS, and the rest, the wing, the ring for a first officer, captain, so everything. So obviously, if you have connected everything, you just click everything, and when you press OK, again, it will restart ProSim, and once it starts again, everything will be connected. After doing that, this initial stage, the ProSim is communicated with the MIP MCP. It looks like this. So you have the MCP turned on now. A couple of lights are on, and there are already some standards. So you have 100 here. Don't know if you can see 100 there, and you have 10,000 feet. This is because ProSim automatically adjusts this in the beginning. You don't have to do anything. I got a couple of messages there. Of course, you can press if you want. It's not gonna give you much trouble. And the rest is pretty much still off. In fact, the background, the lights also don't work yet. That's because it's not fully configured yet. Now, what you need to do, the next thing is obviously now we can work with the display. Obviously, when we turn on ProSim and we turn on our preferred simulator, for example, prepared TD, and we go into the PMDG, we want to start to see everything appearing, the motor displayed, and so forth. And if you set ProSim to start as cold and dark cockpit, what you need this is to see not the computer but everything black screen, because then when you give the power and connect to the IRS, then you will start to see the display coming up. Now, how do you do that? And this is where ProSim manual comes to handy. It's actually more difficult to explain than to do it. Go to your main computer where you have all the ProSim installation, and you will see a file called ProSim display here. So if we click this, and this is just to give you an idea of what it looks like, okay? So let's make a full screen now. Now let's close this for a second, okay? So you have a black screen. Now, what nice things about this is that ProSim allows you to display all the information that you want for your cockpit simulator or the panel. For example, if you don't have the overhead panel, the forward overhead panel, but you still want to simulate how it works, you can always click forward panel, and here you have you can actually make it bigger with the mouse scroll. Now this one, at the moment, if you click, nothing happens, okay? Because the blue screen means it's in display setup mode. So if you click this, or if you press F12, it goes into normal mode. Now in normal mode, you can actually click. So for example, and this is actually communicate with your cockpit simulator. So for example, if I have my let's suppose if I start the APU and my APU is off on my cockpit simulator, then I will start to see actually the APU starting up and so forth. Okay, so you can actually play around. You can give ground here. So as you can see, I just give ground and it's communicated to my cockpit. Now if I turn it off the ground, it goes back and so all this panel actually communicate directly thing. It's not just something that you can actually play around. It will communicate for real. So why do we need this panel? Again, let's suppose that you have a full cockpit simulator but you are missing the overhead. You can use this panel in the moment time for simulate a little bit of what you need. Okay, so having said that, you can select any other panel. So I can close this, for example, and I can select the EFIS captain, for example. Okay, this is too big. You need to make a much smaller. But I'm not gonna spend too much time, so let's close that. Let's see another panel that maybe is much smaller. So after all, okay, so this is just another example. Again, you can see everything works. You can nothing works, but then if you press F12, you go into normal mode, and then, for example, you can turn this off. So I'm not aligning anymore. You can test and so forth. Okay, so this is allow you again to have all the panels of the simulator and play a little bit around. Now let's close the panel for a second, because one thing that you need actually in each of the computer that you set up in your MIP. If you remember, there are two computers that have two monitor each, and I showed you before. If we go back to here, this is the case. So we have the captain things. So first of all, you need to copy the folder or the processing display with all the files into each computer. Okay, so I have two computers, two folders. Now for each of the folder, then you have to create four different icons to start up the display. So each icon will go for each monitor. So for the captain, I have sorry, let's go to the first. So for the captain, I have the display captain, and then for the second monitor, I have the upper ecas, because this one will show me the upper ecas. For the first officer, I have the display for software, which will show me the first officer information, and for the second monitor connected to that, it will show me the lower ecas. So before I do, what you need to do just to show you here. So let's suppose that this is one of the monitor. The reason I'm showing you in my primary computer is because I configure everything. I don't wanna mess up because it took me a little bit of time to get the correct position. So let's suppose that you open one, okay, and you wanna show, let's close this, you want to show, you are in the captain, so you go into display and you select, for example, captain outboard. Okay, so you have this one. Now this one obviously at the moment is paused because there are no lines and there is no the motors are off, and there is no IRS alignments and so forth. But this one is the one that you have to physically move into your display and physically adjust to make sure that your display fit the full. That was the captain. Now let's suppose that you go into the monitor, the display for the first officer, and now you want to connect the display for the first software, for example the inboard, and then here you have it. Now you have to adjust the size to make sure that, let's suppose that your screen is this size here, and you want to make sure that it follow all the screen. Now these are actually now in standby. If I connect now the simulator, this will be, and I connect all the IRS navigation and so forth, this will actually be become live, and you can actually fly it and see all the information here. So once you do that, then you go into the ecas, lower and upper, and do the same, and the standby indicator and so forth. Now sometimes when you open the processing display, the display for some reason it shows very small and you need to really enlarge. Sometimes it shows extremely large and you need to spend a little bit of time to reduce as much as you need. You can also go and do this more technically into the config of the ProSim. There is a config ini files, and where you can actually select the file, the dimension that you need. I have to do that because if you see this, it doesn't allow you very much to go you know, horizontally or vertically as you need, but it maintains the aspect ratio. So let's suppose that you're okay vertically, but you want a little bit more horizontally, and you cannot do it, so you just want to move horizontally. That's where you go into the config ini files, you open up, you find the section of the first offset inboard, you find a section of the horizontal, and you just increase the number until you get the value that you need. I will show you exactly how it looks on my MIP once I configured this. It took me about half an hour to make sure that each screen have the correct size and so forth. Okay, so this is where the TeamViewer comes in handy. So once you understand how the ProSim display works, you basically can go and set up everything into your computer. Now, I already done that, but again, you need to go into your C, create the folder, copy all the files, and then make a shortcut, and you call the display captain. Then you open this one, you select which display you want to show, you select correctly the dimension, and then you make sure that you don't touch anymore, because that will be the one that you're going to use every time you do start your simulator. Now, one thing that I don't want to forget to mention is that obviously you don't want to start up the cockpit and you see this, and every time you have to go in each monitor and turn on this. So you want to do it automatically. There is a very easy way to do this. You go into your startup folder. I don't want to show you, but if you Google, there is a lot of way of doing this. But there is a folder within your Windows 10 where you, if you basically put this one and make a link, it will automatically start when Windows starts. So what I have to do is every time I turn on my cockpit, automatically they will start. I don't have to do anything else. Now, so I'm controlling from my main computer. So I'm inside my main computer, but I'm controlling now. This is the desktop of my PC for the captain. So the first screen, I have this one, and I just double click, and as you can see, I already configured what I want to show on my first monitor. If you remember, the first monitor had a bezel here which divided, and it's exactly what I wanted to have. Now, before I also forget to mention, you need to configure everything, make sure that the status is green and connected to the main computer which runs ProSim. How to do that? You go into configuration, and again, all you have to do is to put your IP address that you had before, 192.168.1.253 for me. Yours will be different, but then you just put it there and you click OK. You got several options here. You can choose detailed terrain, you want photorealistic instrument if you want, you have high quality bitmap and so forth. You can play a little bit about this, but play sound effect, so it's okay. Clickable controls, if for example you wanna if you have for example a touch screen and you want to make sure that it's clickable. For example, if you have the 787 Boeing 787 as the CDU, which is digital and it's touch screen, so I suppose that will be when you use that clickable control and so forth. Okay, so you go here and you turn this on, and then you go to the second screen, and you also turn the upper ecas. As you can see, I do have two standby instruments. They look a little bit weird in terms of dimension, but that's because you're seeing the full screen. When you see in the cockpit, because there is a division here, then it will make all sense. And then you go into the first offset. First, we open the first offset inbound and outbound, and then we go to the second monitor, and now we open the lower ecas. When everything is configured correctly and you can have the display, now obviously I'm showing you how it's gonna look at the cockpit, but you can turn that off if you need to, but just to show you exactly from there. And then you move here, and as you can see, all the monitors are now correctly configured and show the display. The display that you are seeing there is exactly this one over here. Now, and because ProSim actually create this display, everything works. So for example, if I change to the system here, then you can obviously change the system, and you press again, it goes to 0, and you press again, go back, and then if you press the engine, it goes back to engine, and so forth. Okay, so ProSim does a very good job in creating realistic software for avionics for the cockpit. So at the moment everything is okay. You configure everything. Now the only things left to do is to start your simulator, and you can play with it. You can start testing even more furthermore. Now one things that I also want to show you, but you can do that by reading the manual. There are two gauges for this simulator. There are the flaps gauge and the brake pressure. These originally are not configured. You have to actually go and select the servo motor, and then you need to obviously go in ProSim and configure. It's very easy to do. You go into ProSim config drivers, you find the drivers for the flap gauges, and there is a slider, and for position 0 you select, you move the slider until this one shows position up. For position 1 you move the slider until this one shows the position 1, and then 2 and 3 and so forth. And the same for the brake pressure. Everything is quite easy, intuitive, very user friendly. Once everything is done, then you can obviously test. So let's start up the simulator and let's see how everything looks. So I start up my Prepare 3D and I select the ProSim flight model for the 737-800. Of course, I select my ProSim for ready. Didn't want to do all the cold and dark and cold startup cockpit. I will do that in our next videos, perhaps. But just to show you guys, when you select everything, obviously now everything is working fine. So this is what you want to see when you're ready to go. Now a couple of obviously master caution, we can turn it off. The backlight, as you can see, is now working. So let's turn on everything. Let's see how it looks. We turn on the backlight, the brown, the lights here, and the main panel display. This is what a beautiful, correctly configured cockpit will look like for the MIP MCP. Now I don't have the EFIS. I don't have the two CDU. I do have them, but did not connect them. And of course, you're gonna have some sort of FMC issue there, because it's sort of trying to communicate to FMC, but it's not finding it, so it's giving a little bit. One thing for sure is that when you test this module one by one, you can only test probably 70-80%. You cannot test absolutely everything. The reason for that is because you need to connect the rest. Otherwise, you have to simulate using the ProSim display that I showed you before. But otherwise, you can only test at a certain point. Now, everything is working. I already configured the flaps. So, for example, the flaps at the moment it's in up position. If I put flaps 5, so F7 3 times, going back from that to, you can see the flaps actually move to in position 5. And then if I press, actually just to show you how the lights also work, let's press them flaps full. You can see the lights, LED flaps transit also turned on, and you can see the flaps going and going to 15 and 25 and so forth. It takes quite a lot sometimes to get, I think overall 30 seconds to get to 40, but it's pretty much by standard. brake pressure shows it's pretty much in the green, so it looks okay. So everything working. We can select the flight director on, and we can select the flight director on. We can select the auto throttle arm. We can select the reject takeoff. How about we take this for a test? How about that, guys? What do you think? Yeah, let's do that. Okay, let's take it for a test. So we got flaps 5 set, RTO. Let's give some, let's see some airport just to see weather. I don't think there's not much weather. I'm actually departing from runway 31 of Lima India Bravo Romeo. So there will be Brindisi Libre, as you can see here. Now it's gonna be a little bit difficult because I have to select the power from that, look into this, and then hopefully try to take off from my yokes. Everything is still not fully built, but just to give an indication how everything works. So let's give full power, brake release, full power. It should start active soon. Now at the moment I don't really mind where the plane is going, left or right. I just want to show you guys how everything works. So I will try to take off around 135, 140. See if I can manage to do this. So okay, we are past the rotate speed. Let's just go. Okay, and we are off. Pull up. Okay, I know. Now at the moment you don't hear all the audio because I deactivated. Otherwise you would be hearing alarm and audio. That's of course because it's just testing, and during testing I like to have fun. So positive climb, gear up. And let's try to pull some autopilot so he can help us. Level change, 250 knots. Okay, and one select. Okay, so we got everything seems okay. We obviously overspeed, but my autopilot is now trying to reach 250 knots, and it's trying to reach 6,000 for some reason, 6,400. Let's make it nice. Let's make it 7,000. Okay, 7,000. Now level change, it will pitch up in order to maintain the speed of 250. So we are going quite a big step up. Look at this, 4,100 feet per minute. Let's zoom a little bit. Now let's try to change some heading select also. Let's change some heading. Okay, we pretty much reach a safe speed. Now it should decrease when you reach 7,000. Okay. And as you can see, it's now decreasing. You can hear from the sound also. Perfectly decreasing. Okay, so we can Let's try to go quite low speed. Let's see how we cope. Oh, I forgot to close the flaps. Okay, this plane probably break all the rules, but hey, it's not fun if you cannot do it, right? That's the point of a simulator. You can test whatever you want. But anyway, apart the jokes, guys, this is just to show you how everything needs to be connected, how everything works. As you can see, it's very stable. Ethernet cable is very stable, better than USB. So when you purchase something, let me turn down a little bit the sound. If you need to purchase something, make sure that use some sort of Ethernet or perhaps the CAN-based system, which is the one used also by airplanes. USB plug and play, I don't know about that. As you can see, just for the MCP, EFIS and MIP, I do have all this Ethernet cable there to connect everything with just one USB or couple of USB. I don't know how your main computer actually react with that, but sorry about that. Apart from that, I'd like to say thank you, and the next time we're gonna see each other, I'm gonna test the pedestal, and it's gonna be exactly the same. You connect, so this is gonna be this was quite a long video. The rest will be quite very short video because it's just easy connection. I don't need to repeat everything, and then we can go move from there. Until the next time, stay safe. Thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for sending me all this question. I try to reply as much as possible, and please continue to subscribe or share my videos. Alpha Simulation. Thank you. Ciao. Alla prossima.